Hey guys, Chris, Ironhead Garage. Well, watching the snake, Don Perdome, racing the mongoose. Yeah, man, those were some badass dragsters back in the day. But we're back on the Model A. As you guys remember the last time, I got the overflow tank done. Well, I needed a horn. Horn needs to work. Tell people, to get out of the way. Don't crash into me today. But here was the old horn that was on there, and it was hanging down here. Kind of hokey spot to it for it, but it quit working for some reason. I put power to it with the battery charger, and couldn't get any sound out of it. Digging through my stuff, I hardly ever throw anything away. It's my problem. I had an old motorcycle horn. I think it came off an old XS 650 or something. I tried it, it worked, and it was kind of a kind of like a Yugo sound or something. So then I had another horn here, and it worked, but it was kind of crackly sounding. So I dug around a little bit more, and I had this horn here, and I mounted it on there. It had a bracket. That's where that overflow tank is bolted on the other side, same hole. But yeah, I got it pointing down, got it wired up, and this actually came off my boy's old, I think it was like a 72 Ford truck that he had, and somebody crashed him, and we put it up in my buddy Jim's house and took some parts off of it here and there, but I believe that's the horn that came off of it. So let's hit this power on. She's just a horn. Oh, if you guys didn't realize, in the old Model A here, it's not the original dashboard. That's a 35 Ford dash in here. A lot of guys put them in their old hot rods, because the old dash in 29 would have just been just the centerpiece, and then here and up, and all this is not there. But let's check the horn out. Yeah, pretty cool. Kind of sounds pretty cool. It's got that Ford sound. Kill this power. So I had a couple of them seals. This seal around where the cinder goes. It smells. I can smell gas out of here, and that's not very safe. So I did find a couple of them gaskets, and I was digging around in my other stuff. When I built my old Hot Rod International truck, I ordered a gas tank, and it actually came with the sending unit in the tank, and it came with this aftermarket sending unit. So I'm going to try to put this in there. Might as well. It's a one wire sender. A lot of them have, like my 55, it has the draw pipe coming out of here to draw the gas out of. Luckily this one don't. But as you can tell, it's super long. So I measured the tank, and I believe it was 9 inches. So I'm going to cut this. I'm going to measure from the bottom here and measure down here. And I think I got a mark on it. And I'm going to cut it, thought it was 8 inches. I'm going to cut it. Yeah, 8 inches. Because 9 inches is overall. So, and this is probably 1/8 of an inch thick. So I'm going to cut it 8. So it'll be a quarter down. So, and a quarter up from the bottom. So you cut this at 8 inches, and this cinder here, it slides up and down. So then I'll center that up in the 8 inches. At 4 inches I'll center it. Then it comes with this float, a plastic float, and a big long rod that's a mile long. But then I'll pivot it on here on my center mark, and I'll get it to about a quarter off of the bottom and a quarter down from the top here, and you just bend the hook in it like that and pinch it in that brass deal, so it will pivot. Make sure it's pivoting in the center. Then I can pick up a gauge later on and be able to see how much gas is in there, because eventually I want to get a rubber tube and have it come up here and up underneath there, and I want to put the gas cap right here, one of the pop top ones, so you ain't got to open up the deck lid. I'm supposed to be getting that deck lid pretty soon. I'm not sure if it's an original deck lid with the interior structure built in it. I know along the bottom here it was rusted out and it's been replaced and it's just stitch welded. But we'll see when I get it if it's just a homemade piece of sheet metal or if it's a original deck lid. Would be sweet with the inner structure, because just the sheet metal for this, I seen just the outer skin with the louvers in it are 450 bucks, and you can't find an original one. And if you can, they probably want over $1,000 for an original one with the inner structure. So that's kind of out of my price range. But if anything, we'll build one. But I'm gonna get that cinder unit cut down and get it in there and get them gas fumes from not coming through there, and do something else on the old coupe. All right, guys, I'll be back. All right, well, I got the cinder all cut down, and I got the float cut down. So now when I mock it up on the outside of the tank, whoops, it goes about a 1/2 inch from the bottom, and then around a 1/2 inch from the top. So that'll be totally full. Then once it gets super low, when I'm starting to get almost on empty, I'll know to put gas in it so I don't start sucking the stuff off the bottom. But I pulled this cap off of here, and it's a homemade one with just not very good gasket. And I guess wood screws worked, so there's threaded holes, and they went ahead and drilled their own holes and put wood screws in. It must have been a carpenter, and actually this one's almost off. So I went down and got the right screws, stainless steel for the aluminum, the 24 pit. So I'm gonna get that cinder in there and get rid of that gas smell. All right. Well, I tried to stick it down in there with that tail off of the bottom like 4 inches. Wouldn't go in the hole. So I cut it off right flush. Now it'll go in there. Nice. All right, get her bolted up. All right, I got the sending unit in there. So those Phillips head stainless steel screws, I put it all together, and they just spun. They were stripped when I put a little bit of torque to them, so that's probably why they put them wood screws in there. They should have went down there to the hardware store and got a tap and retapped them, and just put a little bit bigger bolts in there. So that's what I did. I retapped them, held my hand in there, my fingers, and tried to get any of the little aluminum dust that went down in the tank. A little bit went in there, but I got a good filter on the car. We'll change that in time too again. But now I need to, this vent here, I need to drill a hole in the floor pan somewhere and poke that that line down through, and then put this filter on. No more gas fumes coming out of there, so that's nice. And I'll get a gauge one day and hook up a gas gauge. Another piece of the puzzle. Getting closer. Alright, well, I loosened this guy up and pointed the hose around the filler. And I got a hole back there that the hose will go in. Now it'll be out of the way. Got me a piece of copper line. Put it in my old school flaring tool and put a little baby flare on it so it won't pull out of there. And when I put the hose clamp on there, it won't pull out of there. So I just got to shove this line down the hole and cut it for length and hook that little filter up. Alright, another project down. Alright, well, I got it all through the floor pan and the vent on it. So that's where it came out at. Yeah, kind of tucked up in there. Not too bad. So the gas tank can vent down here now and keep all them stinky fumes out of the cab. Still need to get me an old school license plate light here. Some of them old cars, they got some cool looking ones. Have to go to the wrecking yard maybe and find something. But another project down. No more gas fumes. So that's killer. Back's just about done except that deck lid, and Maybe get some of them 50 Pontiac tail lights in this thing. But now I gotta find something else to do. Let's see what I can figure out. Alright, guys. Well, I put her back down on the ground. It's over at the house for a little while. What the hell, Bones? Look at Bones snuck in here. What, do you think you can drive it? Yeah, I thought I heard someone over here making vroom vroom noises. I don't think you're tall enough. Yep, you can't reach the clutch pedal or the brake. You ain't gonna do very good on the highway. Nah, he looks like he's pretty stoked in there. But anyways, old crazy dude. I did pull this valve cover off, and I wanted to see what heads they were. If you can see right there, they say high performance heads. So these are there's a number if you guys want to look the number up to these heads. Yeah, these are rectangle port heads. I was hoping they were, wasn't sure if they were, but they're closed chamber 109 375 1.72 exhaust. So these are 375 horse, 67 to 69, 396 heads. So these things are going to scream. My buddy Jim told me he knows a lot about engines, and whoops, he said there's only one other cast iron heads that are better than these. Until you get to the aluminum, they must be 427 heads or something, but these are killer. So these are original to the block, and this is an original intake manifold. I think it's worth some money, but we're gonna put that tunnel ram on there, so that's cool. I got my new plug wires coming. Hopefully they come soon. But on this tie rod down here, you see where it's bolted up. So it was on the bottom down here on the tie rod bracket, and over on the passenger side it was dragging the hairpin just a little bit when you turn all the way to the left. You can see down here or not, there's a couple little scrapes. So I moved it up on top of the tie rod bracket with some good washers, and they had grade 5 bolts in there with nylon nuts. So I shit canned those. I went and bought grade 8 bolts with the crush nuts on them. Those there, they go tight all the way. Those guys ain't gonna come loose. But since I put my tie rod on the back, or up on the top I mean, my alignment got messed up. So this car is kind of hard to do without an alignment machine, because you can't measure from the center of the tire here. You can measure across the front here, but you can't run your tape measure through the blocks in the way. So I'm gonna take a page out of old Rat Rob Bob's book and build me an alignment tool here. He shows this on his videos. This is the way he always does his. So I got a piece of angle iron here, and I got a piece of 1/8 inch rod. I believe he uses number 9 wire. I wish I had me a spool of that. But I found the center of the tire. It's 13.5 inches, either 27 inches tall. So I'm gonna weld a pointer on here to the center of the tire out of this rod here. And then I'll be able to take this this jig, this alignment jig, and slide it underneath the car and stand it up and have those pointers here. Then I'll be able to find the center there, and then bring it around the front and find the center of the width here, and then tow it in 1/8. Yeah, it's a pretty cool setup. I've seen him do this before. Pretty cool, Bob, but that's the way we need to get it done. So I got the steering wheel, well, it was straight, and the drag link, this tire was straight to the rear end because it's a cross steer, and I did that with strings before. But we need to get this thing aligned, so I'm gonna build that and do the alignment. I gotta chase old Bones out of there, yeah, before he fires this thing up and not be able to hit the brakes. All right, guys, I'll be back. All right, well, I got that alignment jig made. I just folded that long piece of wire over, spot welded it on the angle iron, cut me a little short piece about 1.5 inches and spun it in my drill on my sander over there and made a nice little sharp point. And then I welded it on there. So there I got center to tread. Over here on this side, see it? I got center to tread. So we'll pull this guy out without hitting that wire on anything. So I'll just lean her down, and drag her on out, making sure not to hit anything with it. And I didn't. Take this guy, spin her around, line her up on the front. Get her close to the tire there. So, see what she reads. So there's center of the tire. It looks like I'm towed out around 1/4. So if I tow it in 1/8, because you want to do half of that, I believe. Do half of that, then it'll be dead center, front and back, and then I'll tow it in another 1/8, so I'm towed in 1/16 each way. And that's the way to do that. Pretty cool, Bob. Thanks for showing us how to make this little jig. A lot better going to the tire shop and paying them boys to do it. Nice to save some money when you can. Alright, we'll adjust this front end up. Okay, well, I think I got it. You got to kind of chase it back and forth a little bit. You move it a little bit, and then it's a little too much, but you can chase it down. So now I got center of the tread, and over here, I'm 1/8 of an inch in. I measured it with my tape. So when I turn my wheel straight, it's just about straight now. They should be both in 1/16. And we'll see when we go down the highway if I got my steering wheel true to the road when I'm going straight, because I adjusted on them splines on that steering knuckle. But yeah, it looks pretty good looking at it. They look pretty true. So I'm going to tighten up that tie rod and call that job done. Alright. Well, guys, I kind of backed her up a little bit, get a better view of her. Old Bones, he jumped over there in the passenger side. He thought we were going for a ride. But I kind of mocked up that Mickey Thompson valve cover on there. Man, it sure looks sweet. So I can't take it no longer. I think it's tunnel ram time. I got everything except the top gasket to put the top on the tunnel ram base, and that's coming in the mail. I did get I got oil, I got valve cover gaskets, I got intake manifold gaskets, ARP 12-point intake manifold bolts, I got a new throttle cable and bracket. So I think it's about that time. So the next time you see this Model A, she's gonna have a badass looking tunnel ram on there and then valve covers. So hope you guys come back to watch, check her out, see what she looks like. She's looking pretty mean. Well, I appreciate every one of you. You guys take it easy. We'll see you next time.